let's move on to the Super Rugby. Quarterfinals have been decided, and good to see, I guess, 3 South African sides in that. So at least one South African side will go through to the semis, with the Sharks, of course, playing the Lions again. Do you think this is a fair outcome, looking back on the season? And I'd like to hear your opinion also on the Australian challenge, which has been very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, it's been fair only to a very limited extent. I think that Super Rugby's got a massive crisis of credibility. A lot of punters the world over, on social media, in the press, really having a go at the format of this competition and how certain teams have managed to burgle their way in. I suppose you could say that, yes, the 3 South African teams do deserve to be there, just about, most particularly the Lions. I mean, we know that they're a quality outfit. They're the losing finalists last season, and although they didn't play New Zealand teams in the run-up to getting to the knockout stage of this one, we know that they're a class act. They showed it in abundance again this season, and a lot of hope now in South Africa that they can go all the way to that coveted Ellis Park or Emirates Airline Park home final. And I think they're
securing that potential home final right at the last hurdle.
Yes, absolutely. Well done, to them for doing that. Yes, you've got to argue that not playing New Zealand teams is not ideal. Yet they are good enough, I think, to be able to put up a decent show, especially on the high felt, against any opposition. So they've got a real puncher's chance now of actually winning the title in Johan Ackermann's first sort of emotional last year as head coach. That will be a big spur for them, despite the ongoing absence of Warren Whiteley, which does take something out of their team. It is a little bit problematic that they've lost their skipper. I think they lose a little bit of that sort of the way they gel when he's not around. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that. But they're also a cut above the other South African teams who have qualified. I don't think either of the Sharks or Stormers, to be honest, are genuine title material. I think it'll be a real dark horse thing if they do manage to somehow snaffle it. I can't see them going all the way. I don't think the Sharks have got enough in attack, and we saw that again in their slightly sort of hollow match against the Lions, with them almost not wanting to win because they'd far prefer to go a few hundred Ks up the drag to Johannesburg next week, rather than had to have flown to New Zealand. So yes, they're there, but they look a bit blunt on attack, a little bit sterile, a little bit predictable, still look too much of a sort of bashing side. The Sharks have been called bashers for years, and I still think they are that. The Stormers, of course, what can you call it? Sort of ping-pong rugby, I guess, is what they play at the moment. They are evolving their attacking game. They are lethal sometimes off turnover ball, running it from deep, breakouts, interceptions, that sort of thing. But I think structurally they still have big problems. The defence is a bit of an issue. I think was it 6 tries to 5 that they won their sort of slightly academic last derby against the Bulls at Loftus. I don't think it was the ideal way to prepare for the knockout phase. I think the Chiefs will come to Cape Town brimful of confidence that they can turn over that slightly shock result, let's face it, in the sort of ordinary phase of the competition, a few months ago. The Stormers really have their work cut out. I think their set piece will have to be superb. They'll have to really jack up their line out a little bit. So they lost a few on their own throw against the Bulls, which was a bit of a concern. And at times their scrum also went backwards against the Bulls. And the Bulls are not renowned as a scrummaging force. So a few chinks in the Stormers' armory there. So there is I think concern for the other 2 South African teams. As you say, at least we have, given the sort of the way the tournament is structured, the controversial way it's structured, there were the 3 South African teams as expected in the last 8, and that keeps South African interest obviously very much on the boil for at least the next few weeks.